Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's survive the night. At Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a once popular pizzeria, now abandoned and haunted by dark secrets. A terrified night guard tries to flee, but is captured and killed by a cruel torture device. Sometime later, Mike Schmidt, a former mall security guard, is fired for assaulting a man he mistakenly believed was a kidnapper.
Better safe than sorry, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he did punch the shit out of that man, though. Yeah. Desperate to keep custody of his younger sister, Abby, who might be sent to live with their estranged aunt, Jane, Mike reluctantly accepts a job as the night guard at the pizzeria, despite its eerie reputation.
On his first night, Mike falls into a strange dream where he relives the kidnapping of his younger brother, Garrett. He encounters 5 ghost children who also witness the crime, but when he tries to approach them, they flee. The next day, Mike's life takes a darker turn when Jane hires a gang of vandals, including Abby's babysitter Max, to break into the pizzeria and get Mike fired.
I'm not gonna lie, that's so fucked.
Jane's a bitch.
Like,
just to get custody.
So fucked up.
Like, on that alone, she shouldn't get custody.
Like, for real.
Jesus.
Like, you don't need that kid that bad. Shit.
No, not at all.
For real. For real.
It was just because she gets like benefits or something too. It wasn't even because she really cared about
she didn't give a shit. She just wanted the money support from it.
Yeah. That night, Mike meets Vanessa, a local police officer who tells him about the pizzeria's dark history, the 5 missing children, the haunting of the animatronics, and the tragic events that led to the closure of the establishment. But when Mike leaves for the night, the animatronics, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Mr. Cupcake, turn violent, killing the vandals in a brutal attack.
Very intense. It's a very intense
it's scary
experience. Hell yeah. Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. As the nights drag on, Mike and Abby discover the horrifying truth. The animatronics are possessed by the spirits of the missing children. And they are drawn to a mysterious yellow rabbit. One night, Abby is accidentally hurt while interacting with the animatronics, and Mike is forced to leave her with Jane, which is the worst.
Yeah.
But things take a darker turn when Mike dreams of the missing children again. They offer him a chance to be reunited with Garrett, but only if he sacrifices Abby. Torn between his love for his sister and his desire to be with Garrett, Mike nearly gives in. But when he changes his mind, the animatronics trap him in the same device that killed the previous guard. He narrowly escapes, only to be hunted by Foxy, while Jane is killed and Abby is taken back to the pizzeria.
Shit is wild.
For real. For real.
The truth finally comes out. Vanessa reveals she is the daughter of William Afton, the serial killer responsible for the deaths of the children whose souls now haunt the animatronics. As Mike and Abby race to the pizzeria to stop Afton, they discover that he has been hiding inside a yellow rabbit animatronic suit. A final confrontation ensues, and with Abby's help, they reveal the truth about Afton's crimes by showing the animatronics a drawing of his murder of the children.
Mm-hmm.
The animatronics turn on Afton, and in the chaos, his suit malfunctions, trapping him in its deadly spring locks.
Hell yeah.
As he is dragged away by the vengeful animatronics, Mike and Abby manage to escape, rescuing Vanessa, who has been gravely injured. In the aftermath, Vanessa is hospitalized in a coma, while Mike and Abby return to a semblance of normal life. But the pizzeria's horrors are not quite over, as the ghostly leader of the children watches as Afton, now dying in his suit, is left to meet his grim fate alone.
The end. Hell yeah.
I love this movie.
It's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
Especially because it's got my boy Josh Hutcherson in it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I mean, you were like, when you found out he was in it, you were fucking stoked. You were like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care if I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's, if I've never seen the playthroughs, if nothing. I'm watching this movie because he's in it.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
I probably would have watched it anyway because I've seen some playthroughs.
Yeah,
and I enjoy the concept of it. So,
but this movie was released October 27th, 2023.
Indeed.
The director is Emma Tammy. The story is by Scott Cawthorn, Chris Lee Hill, and Tyler McIntyre. Distributed by Universal Pictures.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me have some theories about next year's HHN.
Oh, yeah. And a confirmed sequel for Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
Woo-hoo.
So, but I've already, I know that they've got like screenshots of the next promotional images, and I'm just like, I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
I haven't looked at anything. What do you mean?
Because they're kind of their rock star, like, cool. They're lither. They're more shiny. They're not like so they're like this plussed up version of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I do have their budget, which was $20 million.
Yeah.
What was their box office?
Their box office was $297.1 million.
Yeah.
So not bad.
Not bad.
I honestly expected a bigger turnout just because of how popular Five Nights at Freddy's is.
Yeah, I totally can understand that, but I can also see the possibilities of why it maybe didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it. And that's mainly for...
Because I also know the fans are like...
Too many hardcore fans being like, well, it's really not exactly critical. Like the video game. And I'm like, well, no shit.
Like, then why would you make
there
a movie?
Would not be a story if...
That's why I never understand, like, especially with video games turned into shows or movies, like, even with The Last of Us, like, a lot of people were upset with a lot of the changes that happened. But, like, they went so much deeper into the characters and who they are as people, and... So good. I love it so much.
I mean, even Five Nights at Freddy's, like the first fucking game, you don't know jack shit other than all of a sudden the animatronics start to attack you and you have to lock doors and save power.
Yeah.
And survive.
It. But like so much was built off of that.
Yeah.
And there's so much that they can still build off of that.
And there's so much.
I had to go in and shorten the lore
that
I'm going to talk about later.
There's so much, my guys. I mean, shit. I remember watching Markiplier fucking play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yep. I loved
like that was my dude. I'd like him because he also went hard on the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff like that. Like he really got into it. So he's always a good one to like kind of go back to and look at all that. But yeah.
For sure. This movie is almost 2 hours long. It's 1 hour and 50 minutes, which I didn't think it felt that long, like that, at all.
I would have said like 1.5 hours, maybe.
Yeah, but it makes me so sad because it only has a 33% Rotten Tomatoes,
which feels wrong.
Yeah,
especially with, and we'll get into it on my end, but like the fucking suits.
Oh, I'm sure.
The fucking animatronic. I'm sorry. that should be a significantly higher number. Just
Right.
for the visual effects that were happening inside of this film.
Right.
Also, Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. Period.
For real.
Yeah. The kill count in this movie was kind of high, to be honest. It was 16 because you got the children, you've got the one guard at the beginning, you've got all of the people that Jane sent, you've got Jane herself. Yeah. So there's a lot going on, a lot happening. I only have 4 people for the cast.
Same.
Okay. So
There's only 4 that matter.
Yeah, Josh Hutcherson as Mike, Matthew Lillard as William, Elizabeth
Springtrap
as Vanessa, and Piper Rubio as Abby.
Yes.
Very good.
There's a decent chunk of information in regards to just... they weren't playing around with the whole like making of these outfits and things and stuff like that, and like,
please do share.
I'm mainly getting into the animatronics. Everything else is just facade. We're here for these animatronics. These are the creatures and
they're the star of the show,
the monsters that are who you are, because even in the video game you're just a random fucking security person who just has to survive. Yeah. Like, you get random calls and that's it.
So, like, that's another reason why I'm confused as to why these, like, FNAF fans were so disappointed in the movie. Because it's like, in the game, you're just some random security guard. But in the movie, they made it deeper than that.
There's
which is the whole point.
So much story that literally didn't exist. Some of the story didn't necessarily 100%, like, they're kind of grabbing and pulling from different parts of the FNAF world. And it's
because there's still a whole second movie to get into that stuff too.
Because again, the fucking first game is you are in a room with a tablet, like, monitor system, and 2 doors on your sides, and that's it. And your job is to look at the monitor, check all the cameras, put the monitor down, look to each of your sides, check the monitor again. Because your whole point of that video game is just to save battery power till 6 a.m. Because your doors require battery power. It's for real. Like, that's it. That's all the game entails. But it is one of the most stressful motherfucking games I've ever seen people play. Especially,
it stresses me out just watching.
Dude, especially because you have to keep an eye on Pirates Cove. You have to keep an eye on Pirates Cove. Because if you don't keep an eye on Pirates Cove, you get to watch as Foxy comes running down the hallway at you.
Nah, I'm good.
Fuck really that nonsense.
Like, I'm really okay.
The other characters in the video game just, like, stand there in the camera's view, but you don't see them move. He's the only one that's, like, fucking full run to your door, like, ready to kill you. He's like, you weren't watching me, bitch, and I got out. I'm like, I got past my curtain, fucker. Like, for real. It is a whole thing, for real. Like, there's so many of those games, but anyway, getting into some of this. So, one of the very first decisions that Emma Tammy made in adapting the Five Nights at Freddy's was committing to using practical effects as the way to bring the animatronics to life.
Beautiful. Snaps for
her. For
her.
real. And they're full size.
Yeah.
They're amazing to look at. I really, Hollywood, your butthole. Because you know how we had, so this is talking about Universal real quick. You know how we had like, I think it was last year when we had like little photo op spots that had like the black phone and had like Five Nights at Freddy's, like a little like photo op section in City Walk. Why the fuck over in Hollywood they were like, no, we've got actors and the full fucking Freddy suits. And I'm just like, I want to see them.
That's because it's Hollywood. Of course they get everything.
Like, ship it our way. Come on. I want to see those things. For real. But literally, so the game is set in a specific time period, because also the film is set in the 2000s, which is the time period of the game, is the early 2000s. And the scares are meant to come from watching these restaurant robots performers stalk their human prey. So she knew CGI wasn't going to work.
No.
Like, she knew.
Yeah, absolutely not. And if it were CGI,
for real, like, there's no way that she could have gotten away with using CGI,
which is honestly really
these.
impressive on a $20 million budget.
For real, like,
not gonna lie. And that sounds like a lot, and it is.
It is a lot for us average Joe motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But also just wait till you hear how many parts.
Oh, God.
But so she turned to Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
Duh. The only place you could have gone.
In Burbank, California. To figure how to translate the now famous video game characters into menacing, physical adversaries for security guard Mike Schmidt.
Yep.
And his sister, Abby. So, taking point on the assignment was Robert Bennett, the lead supervisor at Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So, first, he created small-scale yet highly detailed maquettes of each animatronic character so that they could work out overall design, aesthetics, and mobility preferences before making the full-scale fabrications. Now, if you don't know what a maquette is, because not everybody will, essentially they are a downsized scale, like, version of a thing, or a figure, or a statue, or a sculpture. So that's essentially what a maquette is it's just a miniaturized version of it. It's kind of like when architects make small scale versions of, like, buildings to test it before, because sometimes it's usually like a 1-to-1 scale kind of concept, so that it could be blown up or shrunken down. So but yeah, so Blumhouse collaborated with the special effects company, like I mentioned, Jim Henson's Creature Shop, to create the animatronics. A major consideration in designing the look of the 5 killer animatronics was ensuring that they looked like they were from the 1980s. So in terms of consistency,
it was good. Like,
for real,
have no complaints. They looked perfect. They were perfect. They just,
as someone who watched the game, like, not that long after it first came out, watching Markiplier play it, and knowing what those characters look like, these animatronics in this movie are fucking spot on.
Yeah, very good. But what else can you expect from Hendrix?
Yeah, Jim Henson is he's Jim Henson, for fuck's sake, for real. So in terms of,
did I say his name wrong?
I think you said Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
I'm like, that's a guitarist, hey.
Let me not embarrass myself. I know he's a guitar. I meant Henson. We all know he's the Muppet guy.
Yeah.
And the Dark Crystal guy.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
They're both Jims, okay, with H's. And it's 2 a.m.
True. So, in terms of consistency, it was important to show the impact of time. These animatronics have been sitting around for a long time.
Like 30 years.
And you want to convey that.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the most exciting parts of the build, was the textures. They had spent a lot of time weathering, figuring out what the fabrics were going to cover them with, the saturation of the colors, how dirty they got. I mean, obviously, weathering quality of them was really a trial and error process to get them to look right. They started slowly so that they could keep adding and adding, but not to go too far or go like they don't want to go overboard. So they took their time making sure that they went as good as they could. Because they were leaning into the imperfections, and they loved it when like the animatronic stuttered and when things felt not quite right, because of course nothing is quite right.
No.
So another big thing is obviously they all have to complement each other as well as look great independently.
Yeah.
Because they are, quote, quote, technically a band.
Mm-hmm.
But when there are spotlight moments for each of the characters, you want them to feel distinct.
Mm-hmm. And they do.
And they really do. They did a very good job. So the noses, for example, they went back and forth over textures. They finally landed on rubber. Because if they were built in the 80s, what materials would they have used? So even as a filmmaker,
They went in.
Oh, they really did. As the filmmakers brought their own vision to the world behind Five Nights at Freddy's, they wanted it to still be accurate to the original franchise for fans. So they emphasized that quality, saying it was figuring out what looked best, but also the lore, making sure that they stayed inside of the world.
Yeah.
So this is where we get kind of into the interesting side of it, because they had to make multiples for each character.
Oh.
So that when they were on set on the day, if Chica needed to be in the shot, but then the next shot is doing something completely different, they can build another one before that shot. Yeah. Or we can take this one apart and reassess it to get it to do what we need it to do. So they built the animatronics to be plug and play as needed during production.
What does that even mean?
In general, there were duplicates of each character. They built kits. So there weren't just 2 arms. There might have been 6 or 12 arms for one character. Same with the legs and all the extremities.
That's insane.
All the fittings were universal so that they could switch out things really fast on set. And one of the biggest learning curves of the Five Nights at Freddy's was adapting to the presence of new technology to her and directing like puppeteers to get the performances. So she needed out of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and the others. So for all of the characters, there are multiple puppeteers operating at all times on them.
That's nuts.
It was a huge team collaboration alongside her.
So they're just gigantic Muppets.
They are full-size suits. There's a picture.
But there's no one inside them, and they're moving them like they're puppets.
They're puppeteered.
That's insane.
And it's wild because I saw a picture of one of like Freddy standing next to somebody, and I'm just like, that's a full-size suit. That's a full-size thing. That's not even just like, it's legit. They're big. And it's like, it's crazy. Because obviously it was a team collaboration. Because she was directing the actors in the scenes if they were in the same scene as an animatronic. So it was like a whole new muscle that she had to start flexing.
Yeah.
But they were constantly like tweaking the puppets alongside the rest of the team throughout all the production, even up to the last day. They were tweaking things.
Yeah.
And it was particularly important to Tammy to capture in the movie the essence of what it felt like to play the Five Nights at Freddy's game, stating that she was so taken with how the game made her feel. She was just always so tense, and it turned into the atmospheric elements of the game. and tuned in to all of that. So the sound design and the things you can't see but you know that are lurking. So the atmosphere she ended up creating was one of eerie tension, shadowy figures, and dramatic lighting. So while the rest of the world in the film is shown in dull, washed out colors, Freddy's is harsh, vibrant, and deeply unsettling.
Yep.
So when the characters are inside the abandoned pizzeria, the audience is left on the edge of their seats with the ever-rising tension of knowing what might just be around the corner. And then on top of that, the 80s synth-esque score created by the Newton brothers.
The score was good.
For real. Only enhances these feelings. The score emulates video game music from the 80s. Fitting into the franchise's video game origins and the setting of a haunted, decaying arcade and pizzeria.
They crushed that shit.
The sound of children's voices lurking throughout the score.
Yeah.
Adding to the disturbing feeling of the music and highlighting the tragedy of the events of the movie. Because the movie isn't just pure tension and scare after scare. Five Nights at Freddy's acknowledges that the premise of a haunted animal-themed animatronic is kind of silly and leans into the ridiculousness of the situation at times. Because the movie balances the horror and tension of the film with more lighthearted and comedic moments. The director, Tammy, remarked in an interview on the similarities of horror and comedic timing, and emphasized the importance of utilizing both effectively. Because they knew the world of Freddy's was a lot of fun, that without having some levity and humor in it, they'd be missing an opportunity to bring it to life in its full dimensions.
For sure, because it's literally a children's, like...
It's fucking Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
It's this world's Chuck E. Cheese.
So you're supposed to have some fun, lighthearted moments, but like at the core, it is a horror movie. So,
because you remember going to a Chuck E. Cheese with them animatronics, them things are fucking scary.
But I don't know any horror movie that doesn't have at least some lighthearted moments. Otherwise, you're just sitting there for an hour or two, just in this dark place, and there's no escape from it at all. But like, because I can't stand horror movies that it's just scare after scare after scare after scare after scare, and there's no like release a little bit, just like with jokes, or
even with like horror movies are very good about, like, you know that when this release of tension, you're just like, oh, something bad's about to happen,
right?
You know, but that's also part of the emphasis of horror, is that there's really high intense, like, oh shit, this is fucking terrifying, and then okay, a little moment to breathe, and then you're just like,
hit again.
Something's about to go bad. Something's bad happening. Something's about to go bad.
It's just like real life. Like, you can't have really
good
days without having really shitty ones.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. Life imitates art.
Lay the thick ass lore on me.
All right. Well, first I'm gonna give
for real.
Before I go into the thick ass lore that I have, I'm gonna go into a little bit of background about the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's themselves. So his name is Scott Cawthon. He created Five Nights at Freddy's after he got a lot of negative feedback from an earlier game he did called Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. or Company. But the players found that the main character resembled a scary animatronic animal. I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen pictures of this thing, but, you know,
I mean, it worked out for him in the end.
It did. Initially, he was discouraged, though, but decided to embrace the criticism and then create something intentionally terrifying.
Hell yeah.
So he developed the first game almost entirely on his own.
Which is fucking wild.
All by himself. Just one man, one game. But he used the software, like Click Team Fusion 2.5 for the programming and Autodesk 3ds Max for the 3D models. And then it released August 8th in 2014. So 10 years ago, almost
Yeah.
to the day. And then it quickly got really popular
Yeah.
after being, showcased by these YouTubers
Yeah.
that we're talking about, like Markiplier and so many others.
It blew the fuck
blew up. So with that success, it led to many sequels and a spin-off in the Five Nights at Freddy's world in 2016. So like 2 years later, and
There's
it's already
so many. There's so
things.
much.
For later titles though, Cawthon was like, all right, this is a little too much for one man, so he expanded his team.
Yeah.
And started working with Steel Wool Studios for games like Help Wanted and Security Breach. Yeah. But the collaborations that helped with like the 3D modeling, VR technology, and then lots of other technical aspects.
Oh yeah, because there is a VR version of
Yes.
some of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and fuck that nonsense.
I could not. I actually couldn't.
No, I do not want to do a horror game in VR. Thanks.
No, I tried one once.
No.
I'm never doing that
No,
again. And it was
no.
literally just walking through corridors and things popping out at you.
And I'm just like, no, I'd like to
like, I'm
turn
okay.
my head and just see my room.
Yeah, giving us that sense of
I'm not
of
in where I'm
peace.
supposed to be. No.
Yeah, it's like we were just talking about. Like within the movies, they give you that moment of
Levity
release.
and release.
Because while I'm watching or playing these games, I can look into my surroundings, and that is my release.
Oh yeah,
So,
I can just like pause the game and turn my chair and be like, hang a minute.
Yeah, but in VR, you turn your head and you're still
like,
there.
You're still there. You're still there. The
Yeah.
thing's breathing behind you. You just turn to face it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yeah.
for real.
But Cawthon also had other professional voice actors and composers for the newer games, including Leon Riskin for the original soundtrack. But it is crazy. There's so much. He expanded the franchise into literature.
Yeah.
And in 2015, he secured a multi-book deal with Scholastic, starting with The Silver Eyes, followed by The Twisted Ones, and in 2017, and then The Fourth Closet in 2018. But
There's just so much,
yeah, but
so much lore.
there's so much. But with
There's
this
so much
expansion,
fucking lore.
yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's became a multimedia phenomenon with Cawthon just in the center of its creation.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my god.
This man built
Yeah.
a universe that became so fucking popular that the lore it didn't have it had to be expanded because you can't in the very first one they mention, which is something I know that you have, is the bite.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, in the first game, you have no fucking clue what that means. And so you hear this random dude on the phone say something, and you're just like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? And that shit doesn't get explored until a later game or explained at a later point. And you're just like, what the fuck?
Yep. And I found all of, like, a lot of the lore. I wouldn't say all of it because there's
so much.
But I tried to condense each category, like, to what I thought would be appropriate to share. I mean, if you want to go do more research on the lore, if this fascinates you, absolutely go for it. I know I probably will. But also, we shall see.
All right. So before we get into your lore,
Yeah.
I will list off by release date all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games and the year in which they came out.
Okay.
There's a lot more than I think any of
Really?
us really thought.
Seriously?
When I looked at this, I was like, oh my God, that's a lot more than I
Okay.
fucking thought. Because I know some of them. Not all of these.
Wow.
So there's obviously, in 2014, we have Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. In 2015, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 and Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Oh, so he released 2 games a year.
In 2016, FNAF World, Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. 2017, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. 2018, Ultimate Custom Night, which means you could essentially customize the characters. Like, you could make these characters at the height of their
Oh my God.
attack quality.
No.
2019, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted.
I remember that being a big thing that year.
Oh, yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's Special Delivery. Freddy in Space 2.
Huh?
When was there a first one? 2021, Security Breach, Fury's Rage. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. 2022, U2's presents Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh.
2023, Freddy in Space 3, Chica in Space.
Oh.
Some of these are not as brightly lit. So the ones that are in a bolder color are the ones that most of us know.
Yeah.
Because 2023 was Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2.
Yeah.
And then 2024 was Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit.
I don't like it.
2025.
Oh.
They've
Next
got
year.
5 Laps at Freddy's. So I'm assuming it's some kind of racing game. So I'm not really worried about that one. But this one is going to be fascinating. Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic.
Ooh. Nope.
Sounds super, super cool. And then there's a TBA one.
Okay, to be announced. Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's Survival Crew.
You know,
So I'm really interested to see Secrets of the Mimic because honestly, there's a character called the Puppet.
yeah,
And I would like to know if that's where we're going to get some lore.
maybe.
Because I'm not going to lie, that's another character that's like, fuck you, why are you like this?
Yeah. But speaking of lore,
Hell yeah.
let's get into it.
Facts.
Okay. The beginning.
Yes.
The universe began with the mysterious event
With the Big Bang.
called the Big Bang. Correct. Ding, ding, ding. Point for you.
The big pizza bang.
If you can guess these things before I say them,
The big pizza bang.
that's a point. This is a game now. In 1967, William Afton and Henry opened Fred Bear's Family Diner, featuring a bear mascot.
Yeah.
So William and Henry had both been studying engineering and business, were struggling at first, but after designing a second mascot, the yellow rabbit named Bonnie, the diner's success skyrocketed, which allowed William to create the first spring lock suits. That's the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Then we go in to the rise of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Pizza. The diner's success caught the eye of a larger company, which bought and expanded it into Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in 1973. So
Hell yeah.
6 years later or something. Yeah. But the company erased William and Henry's involvement, which made William mad.
Fuck yeah.
So Henry took a job as the phone guy, in quotes,
Yeah.
while William plotted his revenge.
Yeah. So the phone guy in the first game is
Henry.
Henry.
The new pizzeria featured animatronics like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, but William was left out of their creation altogether.
Yeah.
Which just fueled the bitterness.
Oh, yeah.
So that was that one. Then there's the origin of the purple guy.
The purple guy.
The purple guy. So 3 years after Rise of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, William had twins, including Michael. Okay, so he disguised himself as Dave Miller, and William secretly became a day security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where he earned the nickname Purple Guy. So then in 1980, he used the Spring Bonnie suit to lure and murder 5 children,
Yeah.
hiding their bodies inside the animatronics. Yeah. Henry was blamed for this, and William's identity remained hidden, and the pizzeria closed down.
Yep.
So that's kind of where that ties in with, like, the movie.
And also, if you heard her, she said a yellow Bonnie.
I did.
Weird. Because isn't Bonnie purple?
I don't like it. Okay. Next, we have Circus Baby and Afton Robotics.
Yup.
William used money from illegal activities to open Afton Robotics and Circus Baby's Pizza World in 1982.
Oh, yeah.
However, his obsession with killing children led him to make his animatronics into kidnapping machines.
Yeah.
After his daughter was killed by Baby, William blamed Michael, which caused his divorce. And this marked William's descent into madness and cruelty, which sounds like he already was going there and was already there.
Oof.
But
just to let you know, I don't think you're ever going to fully understand until you watch the game play for it. Yeah. But Baby, the whole, his daughter gets consumed by
Baby.
You hear in the game a little girl explaining to you about the fact that my dad never let me go see her, even though she was made for me. Aww. And one day I finally decided to go see her. And then it all just went dark.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that shit's fucked up. You get to hear this little girl be like, yeah, I was explicitly kept away from this specific animatronic and I was so desperate to see it and I died because of it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy.
Fucking wild.
Yep.
Fucking wild. Bitch opened her chest and went yoink. For real. Oof. There's some like really depressive, scary shit in.
Yeah, and William blamed his son. So that's always great.
Oh yeah.
Well, but it's your fault. You fucking made these traps, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever. Then we go into the bite of 83. In 1983, Michael's younger brother, also known as the Crying Child, was accidentally killed during a birthday party when he was bitten by Fred Bear.
Yep.
So Michael, he's now a rebellious teen. He bullied his brother, unaware of the surveillance.
Yeah.
And after his brother's death, Michael was left under William's care and continued to be tormented by his father.
Hell yeah.
Oof, oof, oof.
Oh yeah.
Tough shit.
Shocker, this is not a happy storyline.
No. It's horror.
Yeah.
Next is William's Revenge and Sister Location. In 1987, William, disguised as his Dave Miller persona, killed 5 more children.
Yep.
But the pizzeria closed shortly after.
Yeah.
So this made William sit and reflect on his life, and he sent his son Michael to work at Circus Baby's entertainment and rental.
Yeah.
There, Michael was tricked by Baby. You remember the animatronic that killed his sister? Who mistook him for William.
Yep. Because he looks like his dad.
When Michael's body began to rot, Baby and the animatronics abandoned him. Michael became a decaying corpse, determined to free the trapped souls of the children. Crazy shit. Crazy shit.
And that's where we get the purple guy, too. He's also referred to as the purple guy. There's a really fucked up...
yeah.
For real. There's some really fucked up shit.
Yeah, I got one more thing. Let's see. Let me say this, and if there's anything else,
I got you.
All right, so it's called The Pizzeria's Past. Michael later worked under the name Mike Schmidt at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, dismantling the animatronics to free the souls of the murdered children. The spirits mistook him for the purple guy, so he used the spring bunny suit to disguise himself, but it malfunctioned and crushed him to death. The spirits left, believing the killer was gone, but Michael remained trapped in the suit.
So, yes, that's legit. That's actually what happens to that's whenever you see the decrepit versions of Springtrap, there's a reason why it looks bloody on the inside. There's a person in there. But the whole decaying body situation, there's in one of the games, you get to slowly watch as he decays, as he like is traveling back and forth, you get to see him slowly die. Like it's a wild experience.
So, but it makes me realize like what the differences are between the movie and like the original lore.
Yeah.
Because it's like Mike Schmidt, William, like that's his dad, but it's not.
Yeah, because they kind of, what they did essentially is they separated Michael and Mike Schmidt into two different characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mike Schmidt was just like a character in the movie, whereas in reality, like that's the name persona associated. But what is also interesting is they also changed it because he has a daughter named Vanessa.
Yeah.
Who's a full-grown adult.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
Right.
Also, at the end of the movie, Golden Freddy is in the fucking cab.
Yeah.
Maybe that's our twist.
I don't know.
I have no fucking clue.
But one more little snippet here.
Yeah.
After Fazbear's fright burned down, Michael tried to destroy the spring Bonnie suit, but it only caused him more pain.
Oh yeah.
Realizing that his eternal suffering was tied to his father's actions, Michael vowed to confront William and end the cycle of horror once and for all.
Oh yeah.
But that's just where it is at currently. Who knows what more is to come.
And there's just so much shit. Like, you've got so many different animatronics that are associated with the franchise, because you also have Mangle, which is technically like Foxy's, a different version of Foxy that was a rearrangeable animatronic that the children could play with.
Right.
But its nickname became Mangle because it's a horrifying mangle of like a pseudo metal skeleton suit with like a fox face over here and limbs and all sorts of crazy shit. And it's like, there's fucking Balloon Boy, which you see a little version of him in the movie. You've got the puppet, who's this whole other character that in the game, your whole thing is you have to wind up a music box to keep him from coming out.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole thing with Freddy. There's a whole thing where you play as a small child in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And there's like Springtrap little figures, and you have to watch your bedroom doors and stuff in the closet. And there's so much that goes into it. There's also like an 8-bit version where you play as the crying boy and stuff like you get a lot of that. You get a lot of those different little bits and pieces. So it's really in-depth fucking series.
Yeah.
With so many different fucking characters and different aspects to it that it's just fascinating.
When
truly.
do you think we can expect the second movie?
I don't know. I wonder if they have.
I feel like it will probably be like either next year or the year after.
I wonder if they have a like a date for it. Let's see. 2025.
Okay.
And it 100% is focusing on our... I can't wait. I can't fucking wait.
What do you mean?
So, I don't think you've seen the promotional image of it for it. So this is the promotional image. Let me find it. This is one of the like... Oh, come on.
Well, they can't see it. So.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, you can't see it, but you can go to Google. I promise you can and find it. Because this is going to be terrible. I can't fucking wait. This is going to be nightmarish. That's the promotional image. Guess who that is? Mangle. So.
I've heard of that guy.
This. And that means we're going to meet the puppet and Balloon Boy. Because they're all in this one with them.
Yep. Here's
the thing. In this version of the game that the new movie is going to be based on, this is the one where you stand in a room that doesn't have a door, just a big open space, vents, and a desk.
That's right. That's the one I've seen more of.
Yeah. So you just have to hide under your desk and you have to crawl into the vents and check the vents.
Yep.
So let's just say I'm really curious as to how they're going to play with this one.
Yeah.
Because aside from the fact
that's
that...
going to be scary as fuck.
Oh, and like I said, there's a music box to keep the puppet in place. Balloon Boy exists in this. Mangle can hang from ceilings and comes crawling through ventilation ducts. When I say this is going to be fucking wild to watch and how they're going to make it, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what this is going to look like.
Oh, my God.
For real.
Yeah, I want my mommy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah.
That's exciting. Things to look forward to. I had a feeling it'd be 2025 because this one came out last year. So
Yeah.
2 years has been about roughly the time things come out in between each other.
Yeah, because it didn't give like any specific dates or anything like that. It just has 2025 currently.
Well, I would expect either summer or later in the year.
December 5th.
Oh, okay.
They did provide a release date, so I guess yes, it will be released December 5th, 2025. Okay. So they do have a release date on it now. So I feel they need to do a house.
They do.
They have to, even if it's just the first movie. If it's not on the second one, at least the first one. Because come on.
Right.
Come on. It would be
HHN,
a fucking perfect house.
Please.
If you've heard the jump scare sound, that's all they need to play.
Yeah.
That shit alone is terrifying. I'm ready to see a full-size Foxy come fucking barreling after me. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for there to be a dark room with fucking the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria music playing before he comes fucking at you. That's how you die in the game.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
That would be a big one.
That'd be a really cool one.
Watch it go to Hollywood. I'd riot.
I would riot so hard.
I would actually book a flight, I think.
Facts.
I think I would.
We're going to... California?
Yeah.
California?
Yeah.
California and then Florida and then we're good?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's all I had on that one.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for some 1 stars.
I'm ready to hear some outlandish takes.
Okay. I've got a couple. All right. Five Nights at Freddy's in name only. Any 110 starring this. I can't even with the already.
You said any 110 and I was immediately like, what?
Any 110 starring this is obviously high. If you expect to see a movie about Five Nights at Freddy's, the game, or anything like that, you'll be disappointed. It's slow. It's basically a guy sitting in a chair, dreaming about his brother's abduction and chasing mute kids in said dream. Anyway, it's just dull. It drags out. The characters from the game are sporadic. In a nutshell, some nutcase has custody of his weird little sister, some greedy, annoying-ass fark blonde aunt. Don't know what that means. Wants custody to get the custody payments. That's one part of the plot. The other is the nut dreams, the same dream every few minutes. That's it. Throw in sporadic appearances from the actual characters you want to see, and you get a lame, boring movie that had so much potential but failed miserably. In short, this movie basically uses the Five Nights at Freddy's name to sell itself.
Watching you have to follow it with your finger on the screen.
Because there was no punctuation.
Just, I gotta keep going, all my words in a row, okay?
That was worse than that one Doja Cat song. Anyway.
You are wrong.
I just don't know.
It's one of the things you say, if you really want to try and sit here and be like, it's just a dude sitting in a place and like, it takes forever. I'm like, you understand that that's essentially just what the game is just a dude who sits in a room and gets jump scared. Like, if you really want to boil it down to the basics of what Five Nights at Freddy's is, it's a dude sitting in a room getting jump scared. This the game is amazing on its own because there is more that goes into it. So is this, because this expands the story. Because it's obviously we're going to, if they keep the same actors and have similar casts and stuff like that, are we going to get more explanation in regards to, like, you have to understand that in the movie, William Afton killed his brother.
Yeah.
Kidnapped and killed his brother. Where's his brother? Who is his brother? There's a lot more. They essentially took it from being Afton's kids, is how I'm seeing it, as being more external characters.
Yeah.
Because there's still a chance that Afton, if they have a sister location eventually, like, to explain baby, they're going to need information.
Yeah.
They have to do something.
They're going to have something for it, but it's just how they portray that. And
exactly. And it'll be really fascinating to kind of see
things.
how all of it is, you know? Because there's, I mean, fuck. I still blatantly remember the ballerina in Sister Location, and that's fucking terrifying because this bitch is just blind, twirling around a room with the sound of ballerina music twinkling.
Yeah, I'm good.
And it's a pitch black room, and your only indication for how close she is to you is how loud the music is to you. That's it. And you have to race to the other side of the room to get to a door through a pitch black space where all you hear is the sound of twinkly dancing music. And occasionally, the light that's above the door, you see her twirl past.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know, there is so much more to it. And I think it's okay to kind of make Mike Schmidt a separate character.
Yeah.
I think it's okay for there to be these other characters that are now involved in the story because now they are us, the player character. And that also means that those other characters that exist in the world, if there is a brother that exists, if there's another sibling that exists, that can get played into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think there's a lot more. And quote, first movies have to, it's just like the fucking first episode of a show or the first book. You gotta lay out who the fuck is who. You gotta lay out the story before you can get into the shit.
And okay, for those who are still mad about this, it's like, why make a movie if you're just gonna copy and paste the video game?
Because if they really copied and pasted the video game,
just go play the fucking video game.
Just go play the video game. Instead, they wanted to work with the lore and play with incorporating themselves into it.
And making it an actual story that people can relate to.
Yeah. And tie everything together. That's the big thing. Is sometimes films of things like this can help tie everything together. There's like, they can hint at pieces that exist in the world. I mean, our hint that a fucking second movie was the fact that the balloon boy was in a locker, a little figure of the balloon boy. Like, that's how we knew that there was going to be a second movie, is because he was there. There'd be no reason to show him if you were not going to end up having a second film. So, and that's where we're going. The second movie is where he is. So,
yeah.
Because also in the taxi at the end of the movie, I think he's on the dashboard. And I'm just like, this motherfucker.
Dropping hints.
I'm still saying, I'm curious as fuck about Golden Freddy and who he is. Anyway. But yeah. Fucking curious.
Yeah. We shall see when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
This next one star, I kind of just read the first part and like was like, oh, this is going to be a good one.
You're like, first sentence, got it.
And then I kept reading it just now. Why are there so many of these? Like, I feel like I've had a couple of these that do this. All right. Should have been rated R, not PG-13. Very disturbing and shocking in comparison to the video game. Took my kid's word for it being a video game, but is disturbing and violent. I should have screened before watching with my kids. Should have been rated R, not PG-13.
Oh, mother.
Very disturbing and shocking in comparison to the video game. Took my kid's word for it anyway, and it just repeats that over and over again.
I swear to fuck.
Okay, bots.
Real stupid. But regardless, I mean, it is a video game.
Right. Also, rated R? No, because they didn't show any of
There's no, like, you saw like a blood splatter on a wall.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Or like part of somebody in a mouth.
Yeah.
And then like the shadow of it flopping to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now, I don't know if the first one is just labeled under horror, but the second one is just labeled under horror.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Word.
Facts. Because I think if I check it, I'm gonna real quick just to see. Let's see. Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It is horror mystery.
Lovely.
The next one's just horror. It's just labeled under horror. We might be seeing some gore.
Maybe.
In this one.
Maybe. Big possibility, especially if it's...
You ain't having mangle without someone getting mangled.
Yeah.
So,
well,
oh yeah.
Be on the lookout for that episode next year, most likely.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That'll be a good one. Or the year following, just so we give it a little bit of time to cook, since it's in December.
Let it cook.
But hell yeah. Yeah. I'm very interested to see that when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be a good one. It'll be our Christmas movie to go watch.
Yeah. I like that. Go see it when it's cold and...
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Go at night, get some popcorn.
Wear our blanket hoodies.
Fuck yeah. Just fucking...
Period.
Full on...
I like it.
Five Nights at Freddy's to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Alrighty, is that it?
That is it.
All right. Next time is our Van Helsing episode. One of my favorite movies. Not just because there's a bunch of beautiful people in it, but also because it's got one of my favorite versions of werewolves. The visuals of them I really enjoy. But the Brides of Dracula are pretty fucking dope.
Heard.
And also, their costumes are also dope. Or outfits. Their outfits are dope. So it's kind of really cool to
Maybe I'll watch it and take some inspiration for a certain party that I'm going to.
Possibly, yeah. But yeah. Remember, rate, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, hearts, all that jazz, thumbs up and whatnots. Send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. Follow us at Instagram, Twitter at horrorunmasked. Listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, and YouTube.
Anywhere you get your podcasts.
Your pods are cast at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And with that,
there's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
Or will you fear not?